Hello everybody, we've got an updated dev blog from the old school RuneScape team. So this is dev blog Grand Exchange Part 2. In the poll planned for next week, they are going to be offering the full Grand Exchange along with some additional quality of life questions. In this developer blog they'll be going over the Grand Exchange system itself and also some potential alternatives they could offer if the Grand Exchange doesn't pass. So starting off on the Grand Exchange itself. If you want an overview of how the Grand Exchange works, please click here for my previous dev blog video. After putting out the previous Grand Exchange developer blog on Friday, they received a lot of feedback on how the community feel the Grand Exchange should be implemented. Specifics such as location of the Grand Exchange came up frequently, and they wanted to address this feedback and go on into a little bit more detail about the fallback options in this blog. So there's the Grand Exchange tweaks. Many players have pitched them ideas for how the Grand Exchange could work differently in old school to how it is in RS3. Particularly popular ideas include placing it in Falador rather than Varrock, or making it available in all banks via the existing trading post scenery. They plan to address these smaller changes in a poll next week if the Grand Exchange passes. In this poll, they are simply offering the Grand Exchange as it was. If the Grand Exchange passes, those smaller issues will be polled, and if they pass, the GE will be tweaked to reflect this before the initial release. As it stands, an overwhelming majority of old school players will be familiar with how a Grand Exchange works. So, if they introduce a modified version at this stage, there will be unnecessary confusion about exactly what the players are voting on. By holding back all tweaks until a later poll, they hope the community will be completely clear about what is being offered now. Next, the trading post fallback features. In case the Grand Exchange does not pass, the trading post will remain in game, and they will poll several new potential features for it. So first of all, there'll be direct trading through the trading post. This feature will be offering the ability to purchase items through the trading post. The process of purchasing an item through the trading post will be buying items through the trading post. You'd find an offer you like the look of from a player on the same world as you. You'd right click the offer and select purchase. You'd select the quantity and then you confirm the offer, receiving your items and sending the coins to the seller. If you're selling the items through the trading post, the process of offering an item on the trading post will remain unchanged. If a player chooses to buy your item, you will receive a notification telling you to collect the coins from your nearest bank. You would not need to be in a bank or at a trading post in order for your items to be sold. You would, however, need your private chat to be set to on in order for players to be able to purchase your items. If this system is implemented, they would make the trading post hide offers from players who have had their private set to friends or off. It already removes offers from players who are offline. Next, the join option to hop to a seller's world. While the system still requires you to be on the same world as the seller, they will also be offering a join feature that would allow you to right click an offer, select join and be quickly hopped over to the same world as the seller. This join option would also be added to friends lists and chat channel lists if introduced. This feature could be polled as a separate update if the Grand Exchange passes. Next, opening the trading interface through the trading post. If trading items directly through the trading post were to fail, they would offer the ability to open the trade interface with players by clicking their offers in the trading post list. This would allow you to carry out a normal player-to-player trade without having to meet up, although you would have to be in a bank area on the same world. So essentially, if the Grand Exchange passes, they'll be polling a few tweaks to it after, so people don't get too confused exactly what the Grand Exchange will be. If it doesn't pass, they'll be polling some features on the trading post, such as semi-automatic trading or trading through the trading post. Personally, I don't mind the idea of trading through the trading post, but I'd rather the players be on the same bank on the same world. This would stop people trading across the world, and it will just help people if they're in a busy area. Next, the Warriors Guild basement and Dragon Defender. For some time, the question of the Dragon Defender has been coming up. The old school community have made it clear the only place it can come from is the Warriors Guild, and so they would like to offer a small expansion to the Warriors Guild. They'd like to add a basement to the guild that can be accessed by showing Camfrina a Rune Defender and receiving a key. The basement would contain large Cyclopses, which will be a slightly more challenging version of the Cyclopses, and it will have a chance of dropping Rune Defenders. The Dragon Defender will come with the following stats: a plus 25 stab attack, a plus 24 slash attack, a plus 23 crush attack, a negative 3 magic attack, a negative 2 range attack, a plus 25 stab defense, a plus 24 slash defense, a plus 23 crush defense, a negative 3 magic defense, a negative 2 range defense, and a plus 6 strength bonus. Players that do not have the defense requirement for the Dragon Defender would still be able to use the existing Cyclopses to get multiple rune defenders. So the question will be, should they add a basement to the Warriors Guild containing a bigger Cyclops that has a chance of dropping Dragon Defenders? To access the basement, you would need to show Camphorina a rune defender to get a key, and you would still need to pay the same token fee as you pay to access the Cyclops on the top floor. Like I said in the previous devlog, I kind of like the idea of expanding the Warriors Guild. I think they have missed a bit of an opportunity for a fun Cyclops related minigame or boss. However, we've just received Zulrah, which is a pretty big boss. But like I said before, I'm unsure where I stand on the Dragon Defender. I never really had any issues with it, but I do know it will devalue the Dragonfire shield. So the other questions they'll be asking in the upcoming poll: should they increase the number of available bank slots for both free-to-play and members by 200? Should they remove the harpoon option on the fishing spots found in Piscatoris? Should they make messages from players that you add to your ignore list disappear? Should saplings of tradable seeds be made tradable? Should they allow Ava's devices to retrieve ammo regardless of where it lands? Currently, they cannot collect ammo from anywhere you cannot directly walk to. Should filtering public chat also filter chat seen over other players' heads? Should they append the names of the recipe for disaster gloves to include the level they represent? For example, rune gloves. Should they adjust the inventory appearance of maple logs and staffs to prevent them from being confused with yew logs and battle staffs in trade screens? Should they remove the unnecessary dialogue when entering or leaving Sophenim for those who are allowed to use the gate? Should they change Trouble Brewing to only require one player on each crew to start a game? Should they add a right-click option to Slayer Masters to get an assignment? Should they open the north side of Varrock West Bank to provide access to the agility shortcut? Should they add NPCs that unnote items for 5 GP per item near certain general stores? These NPCs will be for the use of Iron Men, as although other players can then unnote their items without risk of other players taking them, one NPC will be added to the Karamja General Store, Remington, Polinovich, and the Bandit Camp. Should a deposit all button be added to the bank deposit boxes? Should they add a timer to the fight cave to tell you how long it took for you to get from wave 1 to killing Tok Jad? And should they add a fee of 50k to the priestess who collects your dropped items at Zulrah? She will also be made to show what items of yours she's holding and offer you the chance to discard them if you do not want to pay. So finally, they need our feedback. They want us to let them know exactly how we feel about these proposed changes. Our feedback is vital when it comes to old school updates, so don't hold back. So if you want to give feedback to the old school team, make sure you go on the forums. Personally, I don't really want the Grand Exchange. I think the trading post does quite well, and a few of the tweaks could be quite good. I like the idea of expanding the Warriors Guild, although I'm a bit unsure about how they've suggested it, and I'm still unsure about the Dragon Defender. And finally, all these quality of life updates sound really good. So, I can't wait to vote on that. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and share, and if you want to keep up to date with the old school RuneScape updates, devlogs, and polls, please subscribe. I've been Lewis, thanks for watching, goodbye.